Hi, I'm David Baird, owner of Precision Performance. Thanks for watching the videos. We are excited to bring this technology that is producing results all over the country to you. What if you had personal, precise physiological information instead of generalized formulas, charts, and averages? Because the fact is, everyone is different. What you're looking at now is one of the many reports produced by our system after an exercise test. Most people seem to like this report best as it clearly lays out everything we need to know about you. Notice how it breaks the exercise test into various heart rate zones and gives VO2 at each intensity, calories burned per minute, and how you're using fats and carbohydrates at different intensities. Before we take a close look at the results, let's calculate what her training zones would be using generalized formulas, charts, and averages. You are most likely familiar with the Carvonen formula. Here we see 220 minus the age of this participant, which gives us 171 predicted max heart rate. We subtract her resting heart rate of 84 and we're left with 87. 87 times 60% of VO2 max, which is the recommended low end of the training zone, equals 52. We add back in the resting heart rate of 84 and we're left with a low end training zone of 136 beats per minute. If we do this same calculation using 70%, we're left with a target heart rate range of 136 to 145 beats per minute recommended by the charts. I've included 50% of the VO2 max because some deconditioned individuals may be told to train at a little bit less intensity. In this case, if we did that, this client would train at 127 beats per minute. So okay, let's use these averages and see how it lines up with her actual test results. According to average training zone calculations, she should be training at 136 to 145 beats per minute, which we just calculated. This is where she is supposed to be burning maximum number of fat calories during exercise. But if we take a close look at this heart rate graph, at this intensity, we see that she's actually burning zero fat. If we go back to 130 beats per minute, we notice she has reached VO2 peak, which means the calories she's burning during exercise are coming from 100% carbohydrates. If we take the lowest possible heart rate intensity suggested by Carvonen, which is 127 beats, it is actually at her anaerobic threshold, where nearly 80% of the calories used are coming from carbohydrates. Anaerobic threshold in most cases is defined where exercise intensity produces more lactic acid faster than the body has the ability to remove it. So lactate accumulates, causing the muscles to burn, and exercise usually stops shortly thereafter. Needless to say, predicted heart rate averages do this client absolutely no good whatsoever. All this individual is doing is burning up the carbohydrates that she has ingested over and over again. Stored body fat is not a major source of fuel for this individual if she continues along this path. Discouragement will soon follow because she is training very hard but not very smart according to her actual physiology. So, based on the results of the assessment, what are her actual zones? If we look again at the report, we notice that she burns the most fat by percentage at 107 to 116 beats per minute. We see that 94% of the calories burned at 107 beats per minute are coming from fat. But notice how sharply her fat usage drops and carbohydrate usage increases as her heart rate increases by only a few beats per minute. At 122 to 126 beats per minute, her fat usage drops to 29% and then only to 22%. One might suggest that more of a "how are you feeling" approach should be used for this client. This individual could be told how she should feel in regards to being able to hold various levels of conversation in different training zones. The fact of the matter is this individual is well versed in this approach and could easily train for long periods of time at 127 to 130 beats per minute. She thought the way she felt, quote unquote, at 130 beats per minute met the prerequisites for the fat loss zone. She is not alone in her assessment. Most everyone we test overestimated their low end training zone using the way they feel and ability to talk as the barometer. After testing and training at correct zones, they begin to understand how to feel the correct zone intensity, and a more accurate awareness is obtained. So her personal training zone at this stage of her condition is actually 107 to 116 beats per minute to maximize fat loss. So do we then train her there exclusively because this is where she burns the most fat? Of course not, because she burns very little total calories at this level. Our goal is for our client to increase VO2 max and burn much higher percentages of fat at higher intensity levels and also at rest. On the next segment, we can take a look at how we can accomplish this goal.